this video is going to be about the holder rule. Now, I had to educate myself on this because I knew absolutely nothing about it. And I've had a few people reach out to me and I've read about it myself. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it, mostly reading definitions and then being interpretive with the data. We'll see what we think. But before we get into that, let's do a few YouTube disclaimers here. None of my content constitutes professional advice. Viewers that follow any advice, content, suggestions, anything to do with this channel, do so at their own risk because you are responsible for your own actions. All right, let's jump right into it. All right, if you follow the threads, and mostly on the Fisker Owners Association, there has been some talk about the holder rule. And this was in another video that I did, and at the time I had zero idea what the holder rule was. I did have some people reach out to me, whether they were lawyers or familiar with the process or just use Google, I'm not really sure, but they were a big help. And I'm just going to read some things here that are basically just cut and paste from Google in a lot of ways. Here's a brief overview of the holder rule, and I'm going to read a couple different ones, okay, and I will get to Fisker specific that I think will apply to us. The holder rule is a federal regulation intended to help consumers where a defective or fraudulent product or service is purchased with credit extended directly by the seller or arranged by the seller. Sounds like Fisker and Chase, right? If the seller provided you financing directly or has a certain type of relationship with the provider of your financing, you may be able to stop paying on the loan and possibly obtain a refund of any payments you made on the loan if the product or service is defective or not provided. Okay, now we know that the product was provided, but some oceans were defective, you know, and have recalls and stuff, but I'm not going to read too much into that. Let's go on with another one. The holder in due course rule prohibits a seller from taking or receiving a consumer credit contract that does not contain a prescribed notice which preserves the consumer's claims and defenses in the event that the contract is negotiated or assigned to a third party. It's my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, but it's my understanding that Chase may have sold the loans to somebody else. So even if they did, okay, I'm not sure, but even if they did, that third-party creditor would not be immune from this holder rule. They would still, you know, that would still apply to them. Let's look at a holder rule with a simple Google definition. You know, this is what I did, okay, so just bear with me. This is, you know, I had no idea what this holder rule was. So some of you that may be lawyers or ever dealt with this, you know, you may have, you know, a very good understanding of it. You know, you can just chime in with the comments. Google said this, the holder rule, a federal regulation intended to help consumers with a defective or fraudulent product or service is purchased with credit extended directly by the seller or arranged by the seller. So again, you know, Fisker and Chase. Okay. So this is my own wording here, nothing from Google. So basically it allows a consumer to treat the financing entity, in this case Chase, in the same way that they could have treated Fisker, which could put Chase on the hook for certain monetary values owed to the consumer because, you know, this is a consumer protection. All right, one last definition from Google, and then I'm going to get into how it might apply to us. What is the holder rule on auto loans? So if you Google this, you're going to find the same thing I did. The federal holder rule gives consumers the right to sue a lender that brought their auto loan. I misread that. The federal holder rule gives consumers the right to sue a lender that bought their auto loan for misbehavior by the dealership that originated the debt. Okay, so if you take all of that together, how might this apply? It will most likely apply since Chase entered into an arrangement with Fisker and a defective or fraudulent product was delivered. Fraudulent due to the fact that the car was sold incomplete and not delivered as per outlined in the sales order. You know, the window sticker, right? We all know that we've not gotten the things that were on the window sticker. You know, even Consumer Reports pointed this out. So how would we proceed? Now, don't hold me to this, okay? You could proceed on your own, but this would probably put you at a disadvantage and would most likely require an attorney on your part. From everything I read, that's what I gathered. Now, if you've been reading in the Fisker Ocean Owner threads, it looks like this. You know, there's no clear cut and dry thing here, so this is how I understand it. If you have joined the FOA, and if you've not done that, I encourage you to do that. If you have joined the FOA, then maybe we can file as a single entity on behalf of all of us, but as individuals. It is my understanding that we can file as a group, but would be treated as individuals on a per case basis. That's my best understanding of this. Any of you out there that are lawyers, feel free to chime in. This is lawyer language and is far beyond my expertise. I think the best we can hope for right now as a group is that the FOA finds a way for us to band together for some type of monetary relief from Chase. So maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. All right, the last thing I had on here, because, you know, I just wrote notes because I didn't feel like I could wing this like I normally do. So I just ended with this. Hold tight, my friends. Maybe something comes out of this that can help ocean owners, but I wouldn't get too excited either way until it's clear how this might play out. So hopefully, now I'm hoping that maybe, you know, we get something from the FOA telling us how to do this, because it's my understanding that they are reaching out to lawyers and firms and trying to find the best direction for us. So if you've not joined the FOA, again, I would encourage you to do that. I find this about as clear as mud. You know, I have no idea. I mean, no idea how this would play out. I've never dealt with this. This is something that's never come up, even remotely come up on my radar, and I didn't even know what the holder rule was until, I guess, about a week ago when I mentioned it in a video, and then people started chiming in with what it actually was. And some people seem very knowledgeable about that. I don't know if they've ever just dealt with it, or, you know, are lawyers and were very familiar with it, or, you know, just did what I did to a large degree there and use Google as their friend and try to educate themselves on it. So, you know, maybe we as ocean owners, maybe we get some type of monetary relief. You know, I don't know. Normally, of course, we would, you know, reach out to Fisker, but Fisker went bankrupt, right? So since Chase did the loans, this holder rule does seem to imply that Chase is on the hook for, you know, some things. You know, we clearly purchased the Ocean, but we clearly purchased the Ocean under the understanding, you know, that it, you know, it would have an 8-year warranty, that everything that was on the window sticker would come out in updates, you know, and all of that gets taken into account here. So I don't want to ramble here at the end, because this is out of my league, and, you know, the lawyers and judges and arbitration, you know, this is beyond my scope. But this video is intended to help you guys with this a little bit. Maybe you can research into it, but I wouldn't jump the gun on anything. I would simply make sure that you have joined the FOA and see what their final say is and how we should most likely proceed. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining in, and I hope you found this video helpful, and hopefully there's better days ahead. Later, guys.